monitoring the comments, and hopefully I'll be able to see some of the comments here on my computer as well while I'm doing the live stream. But more than anything, today is a fun day testing these two awesome trumpets. If you don't know much about this horn, this is one of my personal horns, which I think I'm selling because I'm getting a custom Copernicus. I can't really say that well, but this is the A5 Excalibur, we call it. It's got a front. Wow, I can't talk this morning. Front-facing second slide, very beautiful bronze cluster with some great trim. It has a very thick dead bead, and I can show you that. Raw brass. We call it Excalibur because there's only one, and but we might sell that. It's actually on the web store if somebody did want to buy it. But hey Wyatt, good morning. I see your comment, so that's a good thing. And thanks for tuning in. If you have a song request, post them here. If you have a general question about these two horns, you could post them as well. My assistant Josh will be monitoring the comments as well, and maybe Patrick as well. Kyle's out for the weekend, and Chris is home recording videos for the trombone channel. And of course, this horn is the A1 Gen 2, which is, this is my, as we would call it, daily driver. This is the one that I play every day, and it even has my name on it, so I guess I got to keep it. Yeah, this horn is a beast. So I'm going to play a little bit and hope you put some comments in. Let me know what you think about the two horns. I'm going to switch from horn to horn fairly quickly and just play tunes for a bit. So I'll start with a song that we're launching tomorrow on the channel, I Remember You. Now we'll do this. This is pretty lo-fi sound, only because the last time I tried a live stream, it was like a technological meltdown. Everything failed in every aspect. The sound failed, the camera failed, the Wi-Fi failed. So I'm trying this today, mostly just to see that this stuff is working again. And I see some comments here, so that's a good sign. And I see a request for The Nearness of You, which I love. It's one of my favorite songs. What I'll do is I'll play a couple A's on one of the horns and play a couple A's on the other horns. I would love to see what you guys think of the horn. Now I have to decide which mouthpiece to play. It's always the challenging thing. I'll stick with this one. This is a TA2. Let me turn my mic down. Hold on. There we go. we'll switch. Good morning, everybody. Please post your comments. This horn I just played, if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm in the shop having fun on Saturday, of course. I hope you're all having a great weekend. I'm testing out two of my favorite horns, and they're actually two horns in my collection. One's not for sale. That is the Generation 2 A1, although we have plenty of orders for Gen 2 A1s. But the other horn, which I'm pretty seriously considering selling, is this Excalibur, which is my custom Adams A5. So, whisper tones you won't be able to really hear on this microphone. They both play pretty soft when I play them, to be honest. But I can play whisper not. Oh, I gotta turn my mic down. Then, with the one, so on and so forth. Cool. I see comments here. I'd love for you to elaborate on what do you like in each horn sound. It's a real tough decision to sell that one. Bore size, they're both the same. And bore size is single-handedly the most overrated factor in trumpet design. Just to give you a heads up. Everybody thinks a horn plays a certain way because of bore size. But in all honesty, you know, you can have two of the identical bores. These horns have two identical bores, yet they play completely differently. The efficiency level, the resistance, everything. But bore size is so incredibly overrated. It's something that a lot of people can gravitate and sort of understand. They'll go, oh, it's the bore size. So a large bore horn is going to feel more open. Well, in all honesty, what the bore size will do is it will expand or contract. In my experience, this is what I feel. Will expand or contract the amount of tonal variation that you can have. So if you take, for instance, a Constellation, which is a 438 small bore, it will restrict you a little bit in terms of what it can do on both spectrums of the sound, although the Constellations are very loud instruments. So it's almost like it's sort of a a limiter in terms of what you can do in terms of the way the sound will go out of the instrument. Also, it's just an efficiency thing we're talking about. A large bore horn can be efficient if you pair it with a very tight, compact bell flare and lead pipe. Also, if you zero gap a large bore horn, it will play totally different as well. So one thing you want to do when you're thinking about these things is not be obsessed by the schematics of an instrument. More importantly is you want to think about what makes the horn more or less efficient. And that can be a ton of different factors. In my opinion, what's more important than bore size is this section of the lead pipe. You know, the gap, the way the gap is set up, the efficiency of the first, few inches of the lead pipe, how it's set up, what shape it is on the inside, the thickness of the metal, the type of metal, and also the taper of the bell, how it comes out of the bell port. Now, look, this is a 460 bore, but check out what's happening here. Notice something. On this horn, it has a straight ported design. And what I mean by that is there's no bump. When you'll see a bump on this horn. Notice this. Notice the knuckle right here. See how that's shaped? It's got a shape to it. So that shape is going to change the tonal center. By choking this one down, and I'll show it to you again. See how that's choked? It's choked down and straight. That makes this horn, in many aspects, more efficient, even though it's the exact same bore as that trumpet. But the other factors in this horn's design make this horn more efficient, in my opinion, than this horn overall. Forgiving. Describe forgiving. Nathan, your question is good. And I love Jay's comment on Facebook here. Jay said, and if you're not watching on Facebook, for the people on YouTube, Jay says this, and I hope you're well, brother. He says, I still don't know what size my Yamaha Custom is, and I'm okay with that. There are things that you want to know, but if you are bogged down by every single schematic on a horn, that's cool, but no horn, and I'm going to show you, hold on. Let's see if I can move this so you can see it. There are lots of trumpets there. None of them are making a sound right now. It's kind of a drag, isn't it? But no instrument, let me turn that back. No instrument makes a sound on its own. We, the player, we are the engine that drives the instrument. So what do you want the horn to do? That's an important question. A lot of people want their horns to feel more open in this part. So think about where your resistance is going. Do you want the resistance to be down here, or do you want it to be closer up? I like a lot of front end resistance. I remember when Arturo came to the shop a few years ago in Boston before we moved, he was like, man, I gave him Copernicus to play. And he's like, whoa, this horn sounds great, but it's so tight. Well, Arturo plays really large bore horns. He has a large mouthpiece that sort of balances that. But he likes his resistance more down here in the bell. He wants it to be nice and full and free throughout the horn so he can manipulate it that way. I prefer the resistance closer to my mouthpiece so I can just navigate the instrument a little bit easier. I don't know if that makes sense. So, what makes it possible to play Arturo? Another Arturo. I miss you, brother. So, Art. What makes it possible to play so quietly on my A4LT? That's the large bore. So what he's talking, I think your horn is large, but maybe it's a medium large. I'm not sure. I can't remember. We've sold a few A4LTs, but I thought for some reason that your horn was large. But either way, there's a design aspect in the front end of the A4LT that allows you to have extreme dynamic contrast. So, but what kind of mouthpiece backbore do you recommend? That's also a player-specific thing. And backbore, think about a backbore as being like a garden hose. The more compact it is, the more energized the sound goes into the instrument. The larger it is, the more spread you have, the more width you have in terms of your sound. I'd personally like a compact backbore as well. So like our KA3 backbore is like really awesome backbore, especially with the A1 trumpet. And I do have a mouthpiece with that setup. It's just in a heavier blank here, and it's pretty cool because it literally comes almost flush. But this was made for Copernicus, but I'm using it on my A1. Let me turn this mic down and play a little bit. Oh, another question. Excalibur does not compare at all to the Fulcrum. They're completely different instruments. Totally different instruments. I personally prefer this instrument a lot more. The Fulcrum's a nice trumpet, but it's a little too compact for me. So, let me play. Anybody have a song request? Feel free to put a song request, and hopefully I'll play it. If not, you can catch me next time. But this mouthpiece is a 5C now. It's an ACB 5C with a KA3 backbore. Okay. This mouthpiece was made for that horn, so this actually bottoms out on this horn. It will still almost fit. I'll play my ideal on this horn. Because this mouthpiece doesn't fit the way it should, now the gap is greatly increased, which actually, I don't know if you can hear it because this microphone isn't really the best quality microphone. Last time I tried to put my high quality microphones into this system while doing a live stream, the computer basically exploded. So this is just, it's a good mic, but it's not great. But because the gap has been increased, the horn becomes a little bit more aggressive. And what I mean by that is the overall sound, like these mouthpieces are pretty similar. I'll play a little bit so you hear it. Hopefully you can hear it. And in fact, it's not a huge difference. But what I feel is that the horn sound shape, you picture the sound shape as being this round shape, is that the sound shape with an increased gap, too much gap, becomes kind of brittle. And it just sounds a little bit on the piercing-ish side. Again, this microphone probably doesn't give you that representation, but I wanted to show it to you. Again, if you have a question about these two horns, I should zoom in and show them. They're beautiful, and really there's a lot to be said about how the horns are designed. I mean, this horn is a very modern, sleek, really is a sexy trumpet in my opinion, with these curves and the single brace slide. I mean, it uses a Saturn key, things like this. It just looks very modern, while this horn is almost on the completely other spectrum, is that this horn is very elegant and more traditional. I mean, with the front-facing slide, it's got that it's got a Besson vibe, no doubt. And I love both horns, but my house rule, I always have a house rule. It blurs the line sometimes with the shop, which is not good, or it's kind of good or bad. I don't know, but the house rule is when I buy a new horn for my collection, one horn has to go. And I just bought this Killing Piccolo trumpet, so this is the horn that I've decided to go. So, Excalibur is efficient. Again, efficiency is such a broad term. You can't really just use one term to describe how a horn plays. This horn is really easy to play. The A3 is very easy to play. I have a stock A3. I can play it. Hold on. The Fulcrum I don't have. But sorry, that was riveting. But I do have an A3 here. This is just a stock A3. And let's see how this plays. Hold on. Let me turn my mic down. So for me, the A3, it's fine, but it sounds very generic, especially compared to these two horns. So, if you're talking about, David, if you're talking about a horn in the Adams line, you can't go wrong with the A2 trumpet. It's a really amazing all-around horn. Bob Daniels, your comment on YouTube is awesome. Thanks for watching. Yeah, the A5 is a great horn. We have a bunch of A5s, both new and used right now, so that's kind of cool. This horn, this A1, is supremely efficient. And what I mean by that is its targets are very attainable. You know where the note is going to lock in. So for instance, let's play something a little different. I'll do it one more time. But you can't fault operator error, unfortunately, and it's early to be playing that high. But this, although the A5 sounds awesome, I think it's a great trumpet. It literally, we called it Excalibur because for a long time it was single-handedly the best Adams trumpet I played. This one is really close. And I want to play the A1 because I helped design the A1 from the get-go. It's really my identity with the Adams Corporation. So, yeah, that gold brass bell A2 plays great. I have it actually. Hold on. Who knew that I would be like playing a lot of Adams? This is riveting video, but I'm going to go get it and play something for you. So this is that A2, David. This is a gold brass bell. It's a pre-owned, but it looks really great. Oh, yeah, and it feels really great. So let me just play. Oh, I don't really have a... I have a... Actually, hold on. So this is Mouthpiece hell today because I'm switching mouthpieces like crazy. This is my 1B, so it's huge. But if you wanted to play like Halsey Stevens, which I haven't played in a long time. But the cool thing about the A1 trumpet and the redesign is that the A1 trumpet does this really well as well. It will be a little bit different sound shape, but it won't be that far off. Anyways, the 1B is a huge, hold on. The 1B is a huge mouthpiece. Way bigger than I would ever play, but it's what I had close to here. And the spit is free. But that's the cool thing I think about the A1 trumpet, and I played the A2 for a while. The thing about the Adams trumpets, I've played each one of them quite some while. I could, Leonard, but the horns are so vastly different. We do have a selected A4, but comparing the A4 to Excalibur is like comparing, a Ford Explorer to a Ford Mustang. They're both awesome, but they're completely different. And the needs, the requirements that you want for each thing are completely different. Now, the difference between comparing the A1 and the A2, that's actually a pretty close comparison. So then you have to decide, really what you want in terms of like, how do you want your articulated shapes to be? I think they're a little crisper on the A1. I think the A2 has a slightly broader sound. This is a little bit more energized, a little brighter. Also, it looks so differently. You could get a little bit of flack when you walk into a symphonic band with it. But let's do... You just heard a little Halsey Stevens, but I can play... Hold on. I'm just kidding. No bebop on Petrushka. Like I said, the 1B is way too big of a mouthpiece for me to play, so I'm not getting my best result. Here's the A2. So I actually can hear it. I can hear it right off the bat that it's just got this. It's got a traditional sound. That's the best way I could say it. It's very traditional. So if you're looking, again, this is all a personal preference. If you're looking for an all-around horn in the Adams line, the horns that will do it quite well, the A1 will do it very well. The A2 will do it well. The A3 will do it well. The A10 is an awesome all-around trumpet. We had someone come in a few days ago and buy an A10. He was like, this is ridiculous. So darker sounding Adams models that are good for combo playing. Copernicus is like the easiest answer right there. I'm just putting that trumpet down before I drop it. Copernicus, the A1, it works great in a combo. I mean, that's the thing. It's a wonderful all-around trumpet. A9 is super great for ballad playing. It's the most Martin-esque of the trumpets. You know, that is very specific, though. The A9 and the A4 are very specific trumpets, although the A4 was made for a salsa player. Back to brass tacks here, and I'll play... Oh, I didn't play Petrushka on the Excalibur. Hold on. It's weird to play that excerpt on B-flat trumpet. But yeah, so that's Excalibur. And it's like, I'm not sure I really do want to sell it, but it's currently listed for sale. And I think it's right around $2,900. The Excalibur does come, it has a very, if you look at this tuning slide, can you see that tuning slide? It's really, really square. If you're looking for something that has the cleanest articulation, it really depends on what you're used to. And that's a terrible answer. I understand it. But it also depends on where you want your gap, what the gap settings you want, and things like that, what you currently play, what you want for resistance. I think all of the instruments will respond well once you get used to them. For me, the easiest and cleanest horn, and I don't do double and triple tonguing. I haven't had to do it. Since I played Jolivet 2, or I actually maybe did some brass quintet playing where I had to do it like 3 or 4 years ago. But, you know, why practice something you don't have to do? That's my first question. But for me, the cleanest articulated sounding horn is my A1. And I'll do something different, which is just play a bebop medley. That's more applicable for what I personally do. Wow, hold on a second. I just went from this 1B mouthpiece to this 5C, and it's bizarre. So I'm going to switch a little bit. Problem when you play so many different mouthpieces. I felt like, oh, I'm playing the 1B, so I'm going to be, oh, and then, no. I'm going to go back to my TA2. Anyways, and then Excalibur. There's no horn that's similar to the shoe because of the paw. The A9 medium would be the closest, but that's more Martin, and the shoe sort of developed from a Martin sound concept, but a little bit more open. You could probably get the similar feeling of resistance in the A1 trumpet. It's definitely more open than the shoe trumpet, and I really enjoy the newest generation of the Yamaha shoe. The new shoe is awesome trumpet, really is, but that's, in my opinion, this is so much easier to play overall. A9 is much darker, and hold on, oh no, I don't have a medium A9, so I'm not going to be able to try that today for you. And I have a large A9, but someone tried it yesterday, and when people come into the shop and they try horns, we actually quarantine the horns for a few days after they try them. It just have to be safe for both the customers and obviously my staff. So as much as I would love to play that horn for you now, I can't. But darker and buttery, I mean, you know, Copernicus is awesome. It might be too far on the sound shape spectrum, and I wish I could play one for you, but I had to sell mine recently, and we have 4 or 5 pre-orders. Josh can actually chime in on that. I don't know exactly how many we have. No used A9s for sale. No, none. We're actually kind of low with stock. Only because of COVID, we've been trying to sort of juggle our inventory levels to make sure that we're not too thick on inventory in case things go back and we have to shut down again. So we've been sort of juggling things around. And recently I think we got 20 Adams in like a week or so ago, and they're all gone. Good for us. We're very fortunate, but it's a little bit of a challenging, yeah, so Josh just chimed in. There's 5 pre-orders for Copernicus. So, and 6 if you add my custom one. But, anywho. Bob, I think it was Bob, or maybe it was Chuck, who had a really great comment on the sound of the trumpets. And I totally agree with you, where you could hear like the A1. Hold on, I'm going to zoom this in over here so you can actually see the horns that I'm talking about. The A1 is such an easy horn to play, but there's something very awesome about the sound of this Excalibur. Dave Dubinsky, my brother, from another mother. So, yeah, man, A9 is a beautiful trumpet, and it's super great. Like, the person who came yesterday has an amazing collection of instruments, and he brought his I think it was right around 1950 or 51, a 3-bore deluxe. And so he was playing that versus the A9. He's like, wow, this is really great. It is great. So back to the tuning slide thing. Welcome to my ADD. This is a very square crook. You can see that. Then you can change it up with a fully rounded crook. I haven't played this fully rounded crook in a while, so I'm going to play it for you now and just see how it feels. All right, and then just a semi-rounded crook. And it's cool because all 3 have different feels, and all 3, they put the articulation in different places, the sound response, and the efficiency of the horn changed dramatically between each crook. So, that being said, the original crook for this horn was this really squared crook that Neil and I made at the factory. So maybe I should just not sell that horn, but I'm if it's still up on the site, you'll see. But Yeah, Bob, I think Josh just wrote to you. Again, when we get, if you are interested, let me say this right now to anybody who's tuned in. If you're interested in a certain instrument, you really owe it to you yourself to reach out to us via email or call us and get on our wish list. Josh and Patrick, Kyle, manage a wish list of people. So when we get horns in, sometimes the horns get in and they don't go on the web store. They actually go right to the customer who have, we have lists for people who want large bore Martins, or people who want New York box, or people who want old super recordings, things like that. We have lists. And so when we get a horn in, we'll reach out to the customer saying, hey, we've got this A8 coming in. Do you want it? The price is this. So often the horns will go out and before you even see them on the web store. You could just email us to that and get on that list. But things like, you know, we had a customer come in yesterday and he's like, do you have any used Gaunch horns for sale? Those almost never come up. And if they do, they sell before they get on the store. Good and bad problems to have. We'd love to have more inventory, but we just can't get it. K-modified, we, you know, for a while we had a bunch of K-modified trumpets in stock, but I don't know if we have any right now. We might, if we do, the guys will post them here. So back to anybody want to hear something that I know and I can possibly play on these two horns. Or if you want more questions about these two horns, that's great. And I'm glad this is working, and I appreciate you all for coming and sort of being guinea pigs while we're testing the tech again. Because I tried to do this live concert. I had an amazing band a few weeks ago. We played at our house, and the band was ridiculously good, and none of the technology worked. So I was like, I'm done. I'm giving up. But now we're doing a two-channel stream, and it seems to be okay. I don't know what Child's Play is, so sorry. Well, Clifford Brown didn't write Easy Living, but I know the song. I know it in like 5 keys, so let me pick the right key. I'll play it up a step, because I know hold on. I know Clifford played it in E flat, but the original, I think, is actually in F. This song has literally like one of my favorite bridges. So, funny how I do these videos. Now I'm playing more and more of the A5, and I was like, I don't know if I want to sell that. So, it's this thing. I wish I could keep them all. And, you know, hold on. I wish I could keep them all. And this is just a tiny little sample of what we have, because we have, hold on, if I can angle the camera. Riveting. Truly riveting, I know. But, hold on. I'll take you for a little journey. So down here we have some conch horns. You know, oh, can you see that? Yeah, you can see that. Shaky cam. We have some blackburns and conch horns and a couple BAC horns. It's cool. This is just this room, which mostly this room is just the Adams room. So, hold. I'm going to put this back on the tripod here. Riveting. It's absolutely riveting video. There we go. Back. But, you know, maybe I will keep it. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure now. But let me play. It's just too bad that this goes bloop. Maybe I'll trim this down on the lathe later. I don't know that song, sorry. So they're a toss-up. I mean, both horns are awesome. Maybe I'll sell something else. But I've also been playing at home. I've been playing this incredible Bach cornet. Do I Know Night in Tunisia? Yes. I know thousands of songs. I just don't know that Child's Play one. Hold on. David, I'll play Groovin' High if you could tell me what song it's based on. Someone said, play any ballad you want. Thank you. Ballad I want. This is one of my favorite ballads. I'll play AA on the Excalibur, and then I'll play BA on the A1. Nathan, you win. Oh, and in B section. Oh, the block user button's fun. That's a while. All right, well, technically Nathan got the answer, but David asked the question. Whispering that I love you. Thank goodness we had Groove and High written over whispering. So. So, a little groove and high. So that's really what you hear. The two horns are very, very close, yet pretty different in the way they sound. But very different in the way they respond as well. If you have additional questions, post them here. There you go. Thank you for posting the little comparison of the three horns. In the meantime, I'm going to get back to work and work on revising things to Tim Whalen, man. How are you doing, brother? Man, I hope we get to play sometime soon. I hope you are safe, staying safe and well in the nation's capital. So, but you know, trumpet always kicks you in the butt. It reminds you to keep practicing, and that's for something for sure I need to get back to doing. But in the meantime, thanks for tuning into our guinea pig comparison, not only for the two horns but the two streams. And I do hope to see you all very soon. In case you're wondering, just a shop thing here, In case you're wondering, the shop is open for appointments. You have to sign up for an appointment slot and then get confirmed by one of the employees here, only because we want to keep you safe, and we have to have enough time both in between appointments and also to strategize the horn selection that you might be choosing, because as I mentioned earlier, after people try instruments, we quarantine them for a while before we clean them and sanitize them, just to be safe for both you, and especially my staff. So, but there we go. There's a slot right there that the guys put up for appointments at the shop. We have had so much fun with people who have come in. We've missed you so much, but we want to make sure you're safe. Masks will be required. Gloves will be needed as well. We provide the gloves, and we have masks if you need them. If you ever have any questions about anything, just reach out to us. We're always here for you. 816-410-0826 or info@Austin Custom Brass. I'm going to get back to work. Thanks for letting me play for a while. I hope you all are well. Big hugs and love from Barbecueville, and keep tooting, y'all. Take care.